Welcome to episode 25 of Bandits Weekly, presented by Smash Supplements. My name's Nathan Crosby. Hope everyone had a great Easter weekend. Lots going on with the Brooks Bandits. Let's recap the last week for the team. The big news was from the BCHL. The Rocky Mountain Challenge announced it's going to be the postseason series between the winner of Alberta and the winner of BC. Best of 3 series hosted by the Alberta team from May 31st to June 2nd. So super exciting. It's going to be one of a kind, once in a lifetime kind of deal, as next year the Alberta teams will be fully integrated into the BCHL. So this will be a very unique playoff. Really looking forward to seeing the Alberta Division playoffs and then the Rocky Mountain Challenge. Love the name of it, the logo. Can't wait to see what happens with that. And speaking of the Rocky Mountain Challenge, Bandits playoff tickets are on sale now, and the Rocky Mountain Challenge is included in the playoff package. There's an adult price, a senior price, a youth price. You get all possible games, and any games that aren't played, you get a credit towards next season's season ticket. You can buy your playoff packages right now at brooksbandits.net. Just a reminder that this episode is presented by Smash Supplements, where you can get everything you need to power through your day and level up, located in downtown Brooks, open Monday to Friday 10 to 6 and Saturday 10 to 4. It was a busy week on the ice for the Brooks Bandits. They had their final home game of the regular season on Friday night. This year's team trying to become just the second team in franchise history to go undefeated at home in a regular season. They did it back in the 2018-19 season. One more home game this year, so the Bandits trying to go 31-0. They had the Spruce Grove Saints in town. We knew what happened the previous week when the Saints were here, and the Bandits won the game in a shootout 2-1 after a thrilling overtime, one of the best games of the year. So this was an interesting rematch to do this right away 6 days later. It was a heck of a game. Saints went up 1-0. Then Keith McInnes ties up the game in the second. Nick DeGraves scores on the power play. Parker Lalonde gets the insurance goal in the third period, and the Bandits score 3 unanswered in a 3-1 win. Johnny Hicks was really good in the game as well. There was so much going on, though, in that game. You know, we had over 1,600 in attendance, so once again, thank you, fans. And congratulations to Lorna Lane, who won the $25,000 cash raffle grand prize. She's been a long-time volunteer for the team, so it's really cool to see long-time volunteers rewarded like that. We also had our awards ceremony that night. Quick rundown of everything that happened with that. Johnny Hicks, Most Game Stars Award. Nathan Free and Ethan Beyer got the Fan Favorite Award, co-winners. Logan Sawyer was the top rookie. Nick Peluso, Most Improved. Team Hustler was there was 2 winners, Hunter Wallace and Quinn McCall. Top scorer, Mirko Budazzoni, who was trying to become the top scorer overall in the BCHL. He's 1 point back of Brendan Ross heading into the final weekend of play. Top all-around forward went to Parker Lalonde. Other awards went to top defenseman, Huey Hooker. Top defensive forward, Nick DeGraves. Unsung hero went to both Jordan Huseman and Ian Mills. That was awesome to see Mills get some recognition. He joined the team when Bandits were desperate for a goalie, and he's been an awesome teammate. And we'll get to Mills in a second because he got to have his first start as a Bandit on Sunday. Team MVP went to Kalen Fitzpatrick. So really cool to see all the Bandits that were recognized. Thank you to the sponsors that sponsored the awards and presented. And thank you, fans. It was a great, I don't know if we could have scripted a better way to wrap up the regular season home schedule with the Bandits winning 3-1 over their biggest rival in the Spruce Grove Saints, but also lots of prizes and money we gave out and the team awards. So thanks everyone for making that such a memorable Friday night at the CRA. And congratulations to the Bandits going 31-0 at home this season. Just the second time in team history that the Bandits have gone undefeated at home in the regular season. Sunday, after the team didn't play on Saturday, we went Sunday on a trip to Okotoks for the final game of the year against the Oilers. This was the 11th meeting of the year between Brooks and Okotoks, and the Bandits have yet to lose to Okotoks this year. Haven't lost to Okotoks since January of 2022 in the regular season. Playoffs, of course, a bit different story, but yeah, this year the Bandits just have been able to take care of business with the Oilers, and they do so again on Sunday. The big story was Ian Mills making his first start since October 2nd, 2022, coming back from injury. This was his first start as a Brooks Bandit, and played terrific, I thought. Made a big save on Ethan O'Halloran in the first period, and then the Bandits offense really got rolling. How about Parker Lalonde and Nick Peluso? Great chemistry between those two, and they had a huge game. Both had 3 points. Peluso was the first star of the game, and the Bandits win 6-3. They sweep the 11-game season series with the Oilers. There was 5 games in the AJ and 6 games in the BCHL. So that wraps up things between Brooks and Okotoks for now. We'll see if the Oilers can avoid playing the play-in round against Spruce Grove. They basically have to win out, including a big game Friday night against Blackfalds. But the Oilers, it's almost looking like they're going to be in a series with Spruce Grove, and the winner of that series will play Brooks starting April 19th when the Bandits open their playoffs. Playoff packages on sale at brooksbandits.net. Let's get to some of our guests. Nick Peluso had 3 points on Sunday in the win over the Oilers. He was also just named the most improved Bandit. Here's our chat with Nick Peluso. Nick, thanks for coming on the episode this week. I know it's a busy time for the team wrapping up the regular season here. When the announcement came out this week from the BCHL about the Rocky Mountain Challenge and this final series between Alberta and Brooks, it really gives the team now a goal to look forward to, goalposts that are at the end here that you can set your sights on. So how cool is it now that that's announced, and just what was the reaction from the team with the news this week?
Yeah, no, I think we're all really excited. Like, we were all super happy to see that, to show that we kind of still have something more to play for rather than just winning amongst like the 5 teams. So yeah, that was really cool, and I think that's going to be, if we make it there, we'll host it too, which will also be really cool. So yeah, I think we're all super excited, and hopefully we can make it there and win it all.
We talked about this with Taylor Makin, who's also on this episode, just about this year, the challenges of this year, and yet the resiliency of the players through all of this. And I'm talking not just about the Bandits, but the 5 teams that are in the Alberta division. There's been a lot happening this year with the change to the BCHL. Can you just talk about how the players, the Bandits came in every day, and it always seemed like you guys were ready to just attack the day, not worry about all that outside distraction, and how the group has handled this year?
Yeah, I mean, that was like our big thing going into it when we kind of got that news that we weren't going to be playing in the AJ anymore, was just like keep our heads down, keep working, and we know we're going to work something out. So whatever that may be, whether it was just playing against the 5 teams or they let us stay in the AJ or whatever it was, is we were just going to be prepared for that and be ready to keep rolling.
So what's it been like for you, having played in the BC League last year, now finding yourself back in the league?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I didn't think at the start of the year I'd be playing back in the BCHL. But yeah, it's cool. Like, I loved it in the BC last year, so pretty excited to be in it this year and again next year.
We'll talk about that experience in Cranbrook, but let's just back up here and just talk about your upbringing, Rochester, New York. Just tell us about growing up there and your family and what that was like.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like, there's a good hockey community in Rochester, so it's pretty big, and there's been some Bandits from around the area like Bookman, and so yeah, it's a good area to be growing up playing hockey in, and there's a lot of good resources. I just always grew up like just being at the rink, and yeah, it was just a good time.
Yeah, your family, like the size of the family, like
yeah,
tell us about them.
No, I was like the first one really to play hockey. My cousin actually played a little bit, but other than that, we weren't really a hockey family. My dad's got 3 brothers, and they all have kids too, so we have a pretty big family on my dad's side, and my mom's side, just a sister with some kids. So we're a pretty big family, but yeah, I was like the first one to start playing hockey really competitively and kind of introduce it, and now my brother's playing behind me too, so yeah.
What gave you the hockey bug? Like, what bit you there that made you want to become a hockey player?
Yeah, so it's my parents have told me a few times about it, but I was a pretty energetic kid, had a lot of energy, and my parents were looking to get me into something to kind of drain that energy a little bit, make it easier on them at home. And so they put me in soccer, and I would always there was a rink where the field was, and I would just sit by the glass and watch the Zamboni go like around the ice, and I just like loved the Zamboni for some reason. And so my parents were like, yeah, we'll try out hockey. So I started skating. I actually didn't like it very much at first. I was crying when I would go on the ice, but I had a lucky coach who brought me on the ice more than a few times and got me hooked on it.
So before this season ends, we got to see if we can hook you up with a ride on the Zamboni here.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We have one of those seats that sometimes there's like the extra seat. We could put you on there.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Wave to the crowd. I'm kidding, but so that's cool. And so then you wind up at Bishop Kearney. That experience. I mean, how did you grow? Your time at Bishop Kearney, student wise, player wise. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, no, that was really big for me for maturing, like my game and just as a person too. And it was kind of like, it was a blessing in disguise, really. It just kind of popped in my backyard. It's about 20 minutes from my house, so it was kind of just the perfect opportunity, and it was a no-brainer to go, really. And the way they do things there just really, like I said, matures you. Like, you're living in the dorms, so you're not at home. So it was like a little introductory for me for being away from home, but not being that far away, so I could still go home. And having to balance school and hockey and stuff like that. So it was really good, and it was a lot of fun too.
For people that like we're in Western Canada, so a lot of kids out here don't get the experience of playing, high school hockey, out in the northeastern United States. Why do you think that experience though has led you to become the hockey player you are?
I just think it made it a lot of fun, and like my love just for the game just kept growing and growing more and more, and I just wanted to keep playing at a higher level each and every year, and it brought me to here today.
So Cranbrook last year in the BCHL. This is it's pretty cool that you're back in that league. But just tell us about that experience playing for the Bucks, playing in that league, playing far away from home in Western Canada, and how that helped you, for having success in Brooks.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it there. We had a really good team, a good group of guys, so it was fun going to the rink every day, and they really didn't make me feel that far away from home. So I was pretty far away from home, but my billets and my teammates made it feel like home for me, and that was, I think, one of the biggest parts. Was I felt really comfortable there, and it really helped me produce better on the ice and just be happier overall. And so I think coming back out here again was kind of like, as I'm used to it now, so I think it'll be easier. So
I got to ask about one of your former teammates who's obviously from Brooks and know his family, and that's Carson Good. Just tell us about Carson. What made him a special player?
Yeah, he's the man. He's one of the greatest teammates I've ever played with. Like, he's such a good guy, and off the ice and in the locker room, he's a good presence, and on the ice he's a solid defender too, and he helped us big time last year.
Cool. You're also had spent some time in the USHL before coming to Brooks, Muskegon, Tri-City. What were those experiences like?
They were good. I had a lot of fun on those teams as well, and both had good groups of guys. It's a hard league to play in. So, it was awesome. I can't really complain. It helped me mature my game, especially in that sense. So yeah, it was good.
So you come to Brooks just before Christmas, about the end of November there, and now it's like half a season you've been here, over 30 games, the league change. I mean, lots has happened. But as an individual, how do you think you've grown? What have you learned so far being a Brooks Bandit?
I've loved it here so far. Like, I've learned kind of the responsibility and I guess like the target on your back with other teams when you're playing here. So it's been great. It's been a little bit chaotic with going to the BCHL and stuff like that happening, but we've kept level heads, and it's been awesome since I've been here. And
I've really enjoyed watching you play with guys like Parker Lalonde. I mean, you seem to have chemistry with him. What's it like playing with him? What do you think stands out about him?
Yeah, I mean, he's super solid defensively and offensively, so he makes it kind of easy to play with him, and he's a super smart player, so it's not hard for him to kind of get you the puck, and he's always in the right spots, so it makes it easy for me to get him the puck as well. So he's fun to play with.
What do you think you've learned from the coaches here in Brooks that's really that stands out?
Yeah, I mean, they've taught me a bunch, like hockey-wise, on the ice, and have made me, I think, a better player, but even off the ice too, just the way that our coaches carry themselves and the way that they the things they preach here and stuff like that's kind of showed me a different perspective on how to kind of hold myself, carry myself.
Away from hockey, what are your interests? What do you like to do besides be a hockey player?
Well, in the summer times, I like to golf. I'm sure that's a pretty common answer that you get.
That's never been said before.
But I grew up playing lacrosse, so I love lacrosse. I love to watch it, so I'll watch some lacrosse. And when I get back home, sometimes if my high school's still playing, I'll go see a game there, see the coaches. I like to do that, and other than that, I just like to kind of lay low. Like
I was gonna say, any non-sport.
Take my time off. I go to the lake a lot and with a bunch of my friends, and we like surf or go out on the boat, stuff like that. So stuff like that for me is really really good for me. Kind of just like mentally, just take my mind off the game for a little bit and help me reset.
I imagine there's probably some pretty good golf in the Rochester, New York area. Wasn't there like a major?
There was, yeah, PGA.
Yeah.
It was at a really really nice course in Rochester. I've actually played it
What's it
a
called?
couple times. Oak Hill.
Okay.
So yeah.
You played it?
I've played it a few times. One of my good friends is he's a member there, so he's brought me out a few times, and it's a pretty nice track.
How'd you do?
So, I actually played it after the event, after the PGA event, and the condition, it was really hard. Like it was so not too good.
Made you appreciate what they do.
Yeah, it did. It really did. Yeah.
Nick, we really, have really liked getting to know you here. Congratulations on the success you've had so far this year. Obviously, there's still lots of runway left for this season, so I appreciate you taking some time to do this with us.
Thanks for having me.
It's Bandits forward, Nick Peluso. Thanks to Nick Peluso for joining us on Bandits Weekly. Let's talk about our Bandits alumni, beginning with Brandon Scanlon. Played for Brooks from 2017 to 2019, one of the top defensemen to ever play for this team, and that's saying a lot, of course. Was the playoff MVP in 2019, goes off to Omaha, then signs pro deal, goes to Hartford, the New York Rangers affiliate, was recently called up and made his Rangers debut last week, March 26, 2024, at Madison Square Garden against the Philadelphia Flyers. Great game it ended up being, and Scanlon played 10 minutes and 46 seconds in his NHL debut. So congratulations to Scans. NCAA tournament began on the weekend. Great games. And if you want to watch the games, they're on TSN+. 4 overtimes throughout the Easter weekend in the NCAA tournament. One of the best games was Denver versus UMass, featuring Boston Buckberger for Denver, Taylor McCarr for UMass, 2 former Bandits. Great game with Denver winning 2-1 in OT. Boston had a goal and an assist. And Denver also beat Cornell, featuring Tim Rigo, who were ECAC champions. So congratulations to Cornell on the ECAC championship and to Tim Rigo as well. So Denver gets through. Boston University, featuring, of course, Aiden Celebrini, who played here last year, and his brother Macklin, the expected #1 pick in this year's draft. They beat RIT and Minnesota to advance to the Frozen Four. And then how about the Michigan Wolverines getting through North Dakota, tough matchup for their first game, and then having to play Michigan State on Sunday, and they come from behind and win 5-2 over the Spartans. TJ Hughes, 2 assists in the game. So Michigan's off to the Frozen Four. Congratulations to them. So the Frozen Four is set. Denver versus Boston University, Michigan versus Boston College. Good luck to Boston Buckberger, Aiden Celebrini, and TJ Hughes. We've got 3 Bandits in the NCAA Frozen Four. All 3 of those players were coached by Taylor Makin, Bandits assistant, joining us on Bandits Weekly. Makes, we finally have you on Bandits Weekly. I'm sorry, I know it's been a few weeks. I know we had Perk on last week, former assistant coach buddy who's now down playing in the East Coast League, and I felt a little bad this week that we haven't had you on yet. It's good to see you.
Thanks for getting me on. I know we're both busy. I think that's the problem, and then it finally got the time to make it work. So I'm glad to be on the show, and thanks for having me.
Did you get a chance to see the chat with Perk, and have you been keeping up with what he's been up to?
Yeah, I've got the chance to watch Perk's episode, and then we've been following along on Elite Prospects and on the Greenville Swamp Rabbits website and stuff. So he seems to be doing well. Seems to be out there intimidating people like usual. So it's good to see he's having fun down there in Greenville.
Which is weird because he's like the nicest guy ever.
He is. It's all a facade.
Greenville is also becoming like Brooks Bandits, the Brooks Bandits of the East Coast League, which is also really fun. We might have to make a road trip down to Greenville. Well, you played in the SP, so did you ever go through there?
Not that far. I think we were in Macon, Georgia, was kind of the furthest south we got. I heard it's no Greenville, North Carolina, that's for sure.
Wait, you've been to Macon, Georgia?
Macon, Georgia, Macon. Yeah, that's what played the Macon Mayhem.
And how there must have been jokes that day.
There's a few jokes that day flying around. It was supposed to be my night. Wasn't quite my night. I think I was -1. So it was a tough road trip down to Macon for me.
So there's a lot to get into with your journey to becoming an assistant coach with the Brooks Bandits. Obviously, you played here, went off to university, played a little bit of pro hockey in the SP, and then France. We can get into all of that. But just first off, and just going back to your background, your roots, where you're from, and your upbringing. Just Southern Alberta kid, small town. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Crow's Nest Pass. Grew up playing my minor hockey there until I was 15 years old, and then had to get out of that stream of hockey and into the AAA stream. So I started playing in Lethbridge. Played 15s in Lethbridge. Played midget AAA in Lethbridge, and then was lucky enough to get listed by the Prince George Cougars during my 16-year-old year. Actually, when I went to camp there. And then made the team at 17, and that's how I started my junior career. But yeah, pretty hockey-focused upbringing. Not a whole lot of other things. No skiing or anything like that. It was either hockey in the winter and some baseball in the summer. So very sports focused growing up. And
your brother Mitch played hockey as well. Just tell me about your relationship with Mitch, and you guys are obviously good buddies.
Yeah, we were only 2 years apart, so we're very close in age. Best friends growing up, still very close today. Probably the funniest guy I've ever met. So he's always good when you need a laugh. Same thing, always playing hockey together in the basement. Getting into fights, wrecking walls, breaking lights, things like that. It was my parents went through a lot. I think when we were growing up, very competitive environment with the hockey and the video games and baseball and wrestling on the trampoline and stuff like that. So, but no, very close. He played, he was always kind of following me in hockey. He actually ended up playing 3 years in the BCHL for the Alberni Valley Bulldogs. Was the captain there his 20-year-old season. So he had a pretty successful junior career. And now he cuts hair, and he'd be the perfect guy to, sit in a chair and, have a talk with for 20 minutes while he cuts your hair.
Does he cut your hair?
He does when he's around. He does. He kind of complains about it though. Like he's like professional now, and then I don't pay him when he cuts my hair. So it's kind of like he wants his days off, and I make him work. So, but when he's around, I make him cut my hair.
How did he get into that line of work? Like, is that something he always wanted to do, or is it just out of nowhere?
It kind of came out of nowhere. I remember getting a call one day. I was talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm moving to London in a month." I was like, London? Like
London, England?
London, England. I was like, why are you moving to London, England? He's like, I'm going to go to barber school. I was like, well, where did that come from? Like, had no idea. Caught our whole family off guard. We were getting a little worried there for a while about what he was going to do. So, he went to London, England, went to an international barber school there, and been cutting hair ever since. So it's pretty cool story for him for sure.
So you go to PG, and you spend a lot of time in Prince George, and that experience must have been pretty eye-opening for you, leaving home, going up to a pretty remote Western League team, and experiencing that. Like, what did you learn through that whole time in Prince George? Yeah,
my time in Prince George was great. I had awesome billets in Prince George. Still very close with Angie and Mark. Today we talk all the time. They had a young family then when I lived there, so it was nice. They took us in. They treated us well. They made our time in Prince George, awesome. We had a very tough first year in Prince George. I think my 17-year-old year we only won 12 games, so it was a long season. But coming home after long road trips and stuff to that house, they always gave us a good laugh, and we had good times in that place. So that made that season a little bit easier. But made a lot of good friends in Prince George. Played with a lot of good players there as well. It was kind of my first time being, out of the house and away from home. So, the guys I got to play with there, Spencer Aschuk, Drew Owsley, Nick Bonacici. I don't want to leave anyone out to forget names, but
Brett Connolly was like the
Brett
stud,
Connolly
right?
was there. He was a star. He was an awesome guy. He treated us all very well, very humble. He was an extremely talented player, very fun to play with, very fun to watch every night. So guys like that, Senna Akalatsi, they were a lot of fun, and we had a lot of fun together. Even though maybe the wins weren't coming as much as we wanted them to.
It would have been really cool had you been a part of the NJAC team when we played. It's a different Prince George team, but we went up to PG for that week for the Doyle Cup in 19, and what an experience that was. I mean, people like ask me about like the travel with the Bandits, and I'm like, I always watch what I say because I'm pretty sure we have it pretty easy compared to some of these teams. Like the travel in Prince George, especially like on a long season when you win 12 games, like that can't be easy.
Yeah, it was a lot of travel. Our closest road game was 7.5 hours. Everything else was, 8+. I remember my first year we went to Saskatchewan, and we finished our road trip in Brandon, and it was 22 hours back home straight. So that was fun. Yeah, it was not easy. We have it pretty easy here. Guys complain about going to Fort Mac, and that was a regular.
And what do you say to the Bandits when they complain about those trips?
That was a regular road trip back in the day. Like we used to do that, every other weekend. Or it wasn't. That wasn't nothing. 10 hours was short for us. We enjoyed a 10-hour bus ride, but yeah, it was crazy. Like rolling in on Monday mornings at like 8:30 and then going straight to school. It was something else. But made me stronger, builds character, right? Those tough road trips, sleeping on the bus, but it was fun. Made a lot of good memories with guys, and playing cards and all that stuff. So it was good.
Wasn't your only stop in the Western League. Of course, we were just talking off camera about the time in Vancouver with the Giants, and I was looking at that roster. I mean, you guys had some future NHLers on that team. Was that experience like going and playing for the Giants?
Yeah, it was awesome. That was a first-class organization through and through. It was very eye-opening leaving Prince George and going to Vancouver, playing for Don Haye, who's got a lot of wins and championships under his belt. Very knowledgeable guy. Learned a ton about the game from him. He was an awesome coach to play for. We had a good team. We were very young that year, but we had a good team. We had a really good goalie in Adam Morrison, who kind of made up for a lot of our mistakes as a young group. And then, like you said, we had Brendan Gallagher, Jordan Martinook, and Brendan Kulak, who are our, guys going on to the NHL after that. So it was cool. They were a lot of fun to play with. It was a fun group. We worked hard every day and every game we had to, because we didn't have a ton of scoring other than kind of Gally and Marty up front. So the rest of us had to work pretty hard, but it was a fun experience. The organization treated us amazing. Road trips were a lot shorter than in PG, which was also nice. But
was Chilliwack still in?
Chilliwack was still in the league. They were there. That was actually their last year. Then they left the next year to Victoria. So, but it was a fun time.
So the coaches you played for, you mentioned Don Haye, who's obviously a huge name in the Western League. You come play for Pap here. Any similarities between those two? And I have a feeling like every coach is so unique, but what was your experience playing for both of them?
Yeah, it was awesome playing for both of them. Like, learned a ton about the game from both of them, and in different ways too. With Don, it was very defense first, checking, working hard, things like that, playing away from the puck. Learned a ton of that. How to get into the hard areas, how to, manipulate your body in one-on-ones, things like that. Like, learned a ton from him, just about, digging in and going to work every day. He was a motivator. He taught us a lot, during practices and games, and video sessions. It was awesome playing there. And then coming here, it wasn't a whole lot different, other than Pap was, quite a bit younger at the time when I played. He was not much older than we were. So it was a little bit different, and it was more offensive playing here, more puck possession playing here, but still that same work ethic. That same kind of attack mentality away from the puck, things like that. And the practices and the videos, were both like, they were just as, intensive and hard. So, both experiences were great, and I'm glad I got to play, for both coaches because they taught me a lot about the game, made me the player I was, as I graduated from junior and went to university, and I take a lot from them, in my coaching career now. So two huge influences on me for sure.
Did you catch the coaching bug with Don, with Ryan? Was it later on, or had you always kind of in the back of your head said, when I'm ready to hang up the skates, coaching will be my calling?
Yeah, it wasn't always really in my mind. I always kind of felt that I could do it, I guess, and would like to do it. I was always like a very, I liked systems. I liked knowing where I was going. I liked knowing where my teammates were supposed to be. I liked to plan. I was not a very good shitty player, as my skill set didn't quite translate to a free and flowing game. It was more of a systems game, and I could always recognize, our systems, when to do things right, when to go, when to not, things like that. So I always felt I would fit in well. I guess a little bit more, in university as I got a little bit older. You start getting more involved in that part of it with the coaches there, with Darren Burns. He was an awesome coach. I loved playing for him. He was a ton of fun, very players-oriented coach, asking for our opinion all the time and things like that. So it kind of took off there. And then, it was always something that was in the back of my head. I always knew when I shouldn't be on the ice because it wasn't a good matchup with the other team and things like that. But it never really hit me until, near the end of my career when I was kind of, looking for something else.
So Dakota Mason, who you got to play with in Brooks, now you get to coach with him. What do you think really stands out about his coaching and what he brings to the Bandits?
I think it's his passion for the game. He loves the game. He when he talks about the game, you can just hear it in his voice, how excited he gets, how intense he gets about it. And, he just cares so much about, this organization and these players. That's what makes him, very valuable to us. He's always putting in work to help the centers on face-offs, help our, get a pre-scout on the other team's goalie. He's been working with our power play unit now for the second half of the year, and he's always doing some sort of research on NHL power. He watched the Oilers a lot, which, their power play is great, so I guess that's good. Maybe not the 5-on-5 part, but the power play is great. So, he does a lot of research. He puts in a lot of time and effort to try and help our players, and, that's really all you can ask for of a coach.
So after Brooks, you go to Acadia and get to play for the Axemen. That experience must have been so fun. I had friends that went to Acadia, and they still talk about what a blast it was out in Wolfville. But what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. I'm very grateful, that I was able to, be recruited to go play there. Made the right decision to go and play there, and it was an amazing 5 years. Made some awesome friends, some guys who I'm still best friends with today, that I don't get to see very often, but, anytime I get to talk to them or see to them, it's always a good time. That school is a very special place, and everyone who's been there, any of the alumni, they'll tell you the same thing. They basically have to shove you out the door after you graduate because it's not an easy place to leave. And I wish I could get back there more because it holds a very special place in my heart. But what an amazing 5 years. We had good teams all 5 years I was there. Graduated in 4 and went back for a 5th because I could, right? It was I tell our players all the time, if I could stay at Acadia University for the rest of my life, I would. But unfortunately, that's just not the way the world works. But it was an amazing place, very, very special people there. Made a lot of great relationships. And can't thank that university enough for, and the people there for everything they've done for me.
Well, one of our former players, Brendon Mar, is playing there. Did you say anything to him when it was announced that he was going to Acadia?
Yeah, I was pushing him hard to go there. I talked to Darren about him earlier in the year when they were looking for some freshmen. I know Mersey was looking for a school, and I kind of kept bringing it up to him as a possibility. I know he really had D1 aspirations, and I said, we went down and beat a bunch of D1 teams over my time there. So it's still a good league. It's still competitive hockey. It's an awesome place to play, and yeah, I've been able to talk to him a few times since he's been out there, and he's enjoying his experience as well. So yeah, it's exciting that he got to go there, and you know, gives me a player to follow as well.
Your professional experience in the SP, and then playing over in France with Brest, like how are those two experiences like compared to each other? Like what was that like?
Yeah, so you're living in France. I was in Northwest France. It was a big city. It was like 200,000 people, but it was in like outside of Paris. No one really speaks English, so it was pretty eye-opening going to a place where even just going to get groceries and having a conversation with the teller was, you know, almost impossible, or trying to ask for batteries or whatever. Like you had to study it before you go out and then you'd sound like an idiot trying to get it out, and they'd give you dirty looks. But it was a lot of fun. The guys on the team from France were awesome guys. They were very welcoming. They all spoke English, which was really nice. And then they were great, you know, trying to help us with getting cell phones and anything like that, teaching us how to speak French. You know, we had a bunch of other imports from Canada, from Quebec, and they were bilingual, which really helped me a lot. And they were a fun group of guys. You know, guys from Latvia, Slovenia, was nice. They didn't speak French either, so we hung out quite a bit, and you know, just you know, spoke English, did a little bit of golfing, but it was a unique experience. It's you know, the culture and everything like that. It really opens your eyes to, you know, a different part of the world, and gives you a new perspective on, you know, how you live and things like that. They do things a little bit differently, but it was a ton of fun, and I'm very, very lucky that I got to go over there and experience that.
So your first coaching gig was in the AJ with GP. Right before COVID, and I know it must have been a tough grind, you know, finishing that year. But you guys, you know, you had that playoff series against Spruce, you pushed them. That experience then translates to getting a job in Brooks. Your first year with the Bandits was a very unique year because of COVID and everything that happened with that. And like Ev comes in, you guys are, you know, replacing. You guys are two coaches taking over for one assistant coach. What was that experience like coming in and in your first gig with the Bandits?
Yeah, it was eye-opening. You know, it started in GP with me and my friend Ryan, and we were just two young guys who had no idea what we were doing, and we were winging it. But it didn't go well in the regular season, but we had a really good playoff series against Spruce Grove. They obviously went and hired Mike Vandekamp with a lot of experience, and you know, me and Ryan both realized, I think, after that half season that we needed to go and learn from someone else, and you know, get some experience under our belt as assistants before kind of running a program. It's a lot more goes into it than you think, and it's a lot of hard work. I was lucky enough that the opening was here in Brooks, and then Pap took a chance on me, and you know, just being able to come in here, and that first season in COVID was perfect for me as a first year coach. You know, we played a little bit, had lots of time off. You know, it was almost like a little pre-job training before, you know, we got going my second season. So I was able to learn a lot. I was able to get comfortable with running the PK and learn a lot about the position of defense, as I was a forward when I played. And, you know, Ev was awesome. I'm glad that he was here as well, because I learned a ton from him. You know, having two guys really spread out the workload, and it, you know, it allowed me to focus kind of on my specific areas. But you know, just kind of seeing how he interacted with the players, and you know, how much detail and stuff he put into his power play work and stuff like that, and you know, him running, you know, the opposite special team is able to bounce ideas back and forth off each other, and then obviously, you know, you have Ryan there, you know, helping both of us and overseeing everything. It was an awesome first year of coaching. Yeah, I learned a ton in that first year from both of those guys, so very, very lucky.
And you've got to coach some amazing players. One player that that stands out to me, because he came here relatively around the same time and is just finishing up his final season with Brooks, is Huey Hooker. I mean, can you just talk about your relationship with Huey? What you know, watching him develop into the hockey player he is, getting the commitment to Yale. I mean, what a career he's had here in Brooks.
Yeah, it's been really cool. You know, kind of watching Huey grow from you know, a young 18-year-old kid we got to now he's a 20-year-old man, and you know, he's getting ready to go off to Yale, which is, everyone's super excited for him, super proud, but it's kind of been unique in that situation as we've kind of grown together. He was a rookie, had his 17-year-old year, his first year junior, it was COVID. He only got 4 or 5 games, and similar for me, my first year coaching was COVID, and then his 18-year-old year and my second year, it's our first real go as a junior player and a junior coach. So we kind of grew together through the last 3 years. I've learned a ton from him. He's learned a ton from me, hopefully. But the player he was at 18 to the player he is now at 20, it's incredible the amount of work he's put in, and how far he's come, and especially battling injuries. He had knee surgery. It hasn't been an easy road for Huey, but he always shows up to the rink with a smile on his face, and ready to go to work. And I think even just for someone his size, no complaints, never scared of any battles, nothing like that. Just an awesome player on the ice, a guy that every coach would love to have, and then just an even better kid off the ice.
I mean, this team over the years, we've seen some incredible blue lines, deep blue lines. I mean, this year's crop, though, this is a real talented blue line. And like, there's injuries right now, and it's showing the depth of the blue line right now. I mean, could you speak to just the growth of the team from the back end this year, and why it's such a good blue line this year?
Yeah, the back ends that I've been lucky enough to work with over my 4 years here have been really good, which has made my life a lot easier. So Wayne and Ryan do a great job of recruiting good players and players that are fun to work with. And then this year's group, is no different than any other group. They're, at any given night, you can have a guy step in and play 25 minutes, and you're not worried, right? So our depth has always kind of been our strength as a team. And this year on the back end, we've needed it more than we've ever had before. And we've had, young players, 17-year-old players step up and play big minutes and play big roles, throughout the season when, guys get hurt and guys get injured. And it's been great. Guys have gotten opportunity. Guys have taken advantage. And like I said, when you have good players, it makes your life a lot easier as a coach.
Looking forward to the rest of this year and seeing what happens. It's very exciting with the news from the BCHL and the Rocky Mountain Challenge, and it kind of gives a goalpost now for the team. It's like, that's what we're playing for. We're playing for this series against, well, you want to win Alberta, and then you want to take on the winner of BC in this series. So it's nice now that that's announced, you can see the target.
Yeah, it's exciting that we have something to play for. Gives our guys, like you said, like a little bit of a goal at the end of the season to work towards. It's always been about championships and development here, and that never really changed for us as a group. Our guys have come in and stayed, through all the adversity they faced this year, have stayed very, very focused on the team and on getting better themselves and coming in every day and working. So that's a huge credit to them. It's not easy to come in and you don't know what's next, what's going to happen, what are we coming in here every day and working so hard for. But our guys have done a good job of keeping just taking it day by day and coming in every day and not worried about what's going to happen at the end of the line. Just we'll focus on today, we'll get better today, and we'll worry about tomorrow when it comes.
That's what it seemed like through the whole switch to the BCHL. It seemed like the mood and energy around here, it was just business as usual, players coming in and not worrying about the outside noise, and I think they handled that really well.
Yeah, they did. It was awesome, especially you come in here in August and the goal is the Centennial Cup, and that kind of gets taken away from you. It'd be very easy to just kind of fold and maybe pout a little bit, but our guys, they stayed with it. They knew there would be something to play for at some point, just not when. But it was great that they made our lives easier as coaches, coming in focused, ready to work every day.
Okay, last thing I want to ask about before we wrap things up. Last summer was a huge for you and your wife Rain. You didn't get to come with us to the U20 Super Challenge in Sweden, but you had a pretty good reason as you guys welcomed in Mila to the world. I mean, how did that change you and your outlook on life?
Yeah, it's crazy. Your focus goes from being taking care of yourself to now everything you do revolves around another human, and that human is cries a lot and can do things that can frustrate you, but you love that that person more than anything on the planet. It's crazy how you can meet someone for and within the first 5 seconds of meeting them, you just that love and that everything just kind of goes away. They're number one, and all you're thinking about now is them. So it's pretty incredible, for Rain and myself to have Mila, and then for her to come in, when she did. Well, the team was in Sweden. Wasn't the greatest timing, but I mean, I wouldn't have traded anything in the world to not be there for, when she was born. And it's been an amazing experience as a parent. You learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about life in general, just taking care of this helpless little thing that can't do anything for herself. And then as she starts getting a little bit older and getting mobile and starts getting expressions and becoming her own person, even at 7 months, it's awesome to see her own little personality, and when she smiles, how it makes you smile and laugh. And she's a tough crowd sometimes to make laugh, but when she does it, it just makes your whole day.
I remember when I think we were having a meal in Sweden. It was before or after a game, can't remember. But I remember when the news reached us that she was born. The whole room was buzzing about it. So I think that says a lot about how everyone was so huge fans of you and Rain, and we were all excited for you. And so it was a really cool moment. I remember that day, and it's so cool to see this journey that you're on. And now we've got Mila here, and it's all great. It's all worked out.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like the support we've got as a family from not only from the organization but from the city, it's second to none. And we're very grateful that we've got to kind of start our family here in Brooks. And with the team, like I remember getting text as soon as I told Pap, and he kind of told the whole group. My phone just started buzzing from everyone, from players to the staff and things like that, congratulating us. I'll never forget the night before Rain and I got married. We played Blackfalds, and my parents came to the game, and I left with them, and everyone was outside the bus, like hooting and hollering. So I remember going on video to do PK, the next PK meeting, and all the guys were cheering and stuff after Mila was born. So just the support you get from this team and from this organization and from this city it's made our lives here a lot easier, and we're extremely appreciative and grateful for everyone.
I know we covered a lot there, pretty much your whole life, but you did a good job.
Feels like it. Thanks, Nate.
Okay, makes all the best the rest of the season here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks to Taylor Makin. I know that was a long chat, but we appreciate his time, as well as Nick Peluso. Just quickly looking at this weekend, final week of the regular season for the Brooks Bandits. 2 big games up in Sherwood Park on Friday and Saturday. Back-to-back games, 7 o'clock, and then we're on to the playoffs. Bandits have locked up first. Sherwood Park has locked up second, but the Bandits haven't lost yet to Sherwood Park this year, so meaningful games. Looking forward to the action this weekend. For Bandits Weekly, I'm Nathan Crosby.